All right, we're live.
I shouldn't
Hi.
do too much.
Welcome, everybody. This is the weekly or monthly first Friday meeting of the month for the Robotics Society of Southern California and the Riverside Society of California. And I believe those are the two clubs that are here. Today we're doing show and tell. So write your name on the, you can go ahead and put your name on the chat if you have something to show and tell so that we can have an order of like who goes first and stuff. Who will be going first? Who has something to show? Do we have any show and tells?
Yeah, I have a show. Well, I mean, I don't have to go first, but let somebody else. I have the big orange recharging station behavior and hardware and design, and that'll take 10 minutes. Let's limit it to 10 minutes.
All right. Alan, do you want to?
Is anybody else on the mailing list?
While Jim gets his robot ready, do you want to talk about your Omnibot?
Oh, yeah.
Your mic is muted.
Muted conversations are the best no, just kidding. Go ahead and grab that. All right, so here's kind of the deal, and it actually starts well before someone donated an Omnibot 2000 to the Riverside Club, which is standing here waiting to have some life put back into it. It actually started for me in 2015, where I was starting to use Onshape to see if another online 3D design program. And I had kind of drew up a rough Omnibot with some ideas on how I wanted it to look. And so I imported that into Fusion, since Fusion's my go-to right now. And if I can do everything that I want, when everything's done, this was my vision for what it would look like if Omnibot delivered on all the promises of being a cool ET taped robot. So I've been working on the design. I recreated the head. The shells are all pretty accurate. And as a first step, what I plan to do is to modify the top half, the head part. So I'm going to give it a 3-axis head. So the head itself will pitch, roll, yaw. Not exactly like this, but just to show the range of motion. As well as each of the eyes will have 2 axes of rotation, about plus or minus 15 degrees each way. There's going to be a camera in one of the eyes, actually a camera in both, just for symmetry, but only one will be hooked up to the Raspberry Pi. And the ears should be able to go up or down about 20 degrees as well. So I've got all the servos sitting in bin over here from previous projects. So there's going to be some design work, 3D printing. And by the time all of this is done, there will be 9 servos in the head controlled by a Raspberry Pi that you can log into locally. And once I can get this done, I'll start moving down the body and start working on the rest of it. Most likely I'll use the original shells for the base and for the body, not only because I don't want to recreate them with all the little gribbles and stuff on it. It's just easier to reuse. However, the head probably will be done from scratch, as well as the arms. I'm introducing 3 degrees of freedom in the shoulder, and then an extra degree of freedom in the upper arm. And then I'm going to try to make each of the fingers individually movable, but it's not going to be something that you could use to manipulate doors and locks and type. It'll mostly be animatronic, just for looks. I found a TV monitor screen that would fit almost perfectly in the front, so there'll be a cutout from that. So there'll be some, trimming, sanding, cutting, cursing, Bondo, to kind of get everything right. But if I can stay focused long enough to get it done, this is kind of like what I do. So this is something that I'm doing for my own Omnibot anyways. I've got 7 of them personally.
Wow.
About 10 or 15 years ago, I was on a kick. They were available on eBay for like 100 plus shipping. And so I felt it was my personal mission to save as many of them I could, except for this guy. This guy regrets being bought because I tore him apart. So now they're, sitting upstairs just waiting for something cool to happen. And I checked eBay this every once in a while just to see how things are looking, and they're going for a lot more now. I can't, like, if you could get one for $200 as a shell and we're truly motivated to use it as a basis for something cool, I would say go for it. But between what they're asking for and shipping now, it ends up being $400 plus, which is a tougher deal. I wouldn't even bother with the ones that are complete with the box. That's just ridiculous. But yeah, so I'm going to be working on an eye example this week with the servos hooked up to the eye for the 2-axis. Inside each eye, there's going to be there is going to be a 16 segment NeoPixel, because I thought it'd be fun to have multicolored lights, kind of like the Pepper robot. Somewhere between moods and blinking. I thought it would be kind of cool to make it more expressive. But when everything's done with the right scripting, it should be a pretty expressive little dude. One of the things that I keep forgetting though, because I've been working with it like this for a long time now, it's on a computer screen that you kind of lose a sense of scale. So I imported an everyman next to it just to remind myself that even when everything's done, it's a little over 2 feet tall.
Oh.
So it's tiny.
Yeah, Alan, just briefly then, if one was to start from scratch to 3D print all of the entire robot, body and all, and base and all that other kind of stuff, would it exceed the $100 or be closer to 150 or 200 or what? What would your estimate be instead of buying online?
So first you'd have to have a printer capable of printing these large type things. So you're looking at like a shoot, Walter, help me out. What's the model of the huge printer that we have?
Oh, Creality 10 S5. Or the 5S. Yeah, S5. Yeah.
So you'd start with a $700 printer, and then you would probably, let's just say $100 in filament and a couple of weeks.
Next stop's gonna be Fullerton. Fullerton is up next. There was no stop.
Oh, that's all right. Sorry about that, Tim. I'm just going to mute you. And the thing is that even if you've got all that ready, the files that I have are very rough inside and they're not made to be assembled yet. So there'd be a lot of work to, like, just having these model files and printing them out does not a robot make. There's, framework and stuff inside. But if I ever change my mind and decide I want to print out shells instead for some reason, yeah, you'd have to start with a printer big enough to be able to handle them, even in pieces. And so you're looking at getting a larger format printer.
Hey, Alan, I have a question on the on Fusion 360 there. How do you make it so that you can move different parts for along the axis or along the axes that they would actually move in real life? And you're just using your mouse, I assume, there, and you set up. I mean, I'm still learning Fusion 360, but that sounds like there's some kind of rigging.
Yeah,
involved.
that's exactly what it is. So
Okay.
in Fusion, you design individual parts, and once these parts become components, you can define the relationship between the components. So for like the neck base and the neck covering, those are what are called grounded, so that you can't drag them no matter what. Then if we switch over to, we'll go ahead and hide the shell top for a minute. You can define the relationship between two components by the use of joints. Let me go ahead and turn all these on so we can see them.
Oh, okay.
And so there is a spherical joint defined between an area here and on the faceplate, and it's a three-dimensional spherical joint. That's why I can drag it in all 3 dimensions. And
Mm.
then just as a placeholder, I defined some sketches that describe the relationship between the head and the ear that allows me to move it up and down. And it's pretty intense. You can do things like define joint limits, minimum and maximum, to kind of make it more realistic. But yeah, that's it. That's the beauty of joints, and because it does support, I don't want to call it forward or inverse kinematics, but it will attempt to solve if you start dragging around things that are connected to other joints that can move. And so you may have caught when in this quick demo that when I was showing everything off, I went ahead and I froze the head so that I could move these guys around. Because what happens is if I unfreeze the head, well, I can still rotate that around. But when I drag something, it doesn't know if I want to drag the head or the ear. So once I get it in position or set it, we'll just freeze that, we'll ground it, and then, yeah, I know. And then we can move the eyes from there. But yeah, that's the beauty of assemblies, components, and joints.
That's under assembly. I haven't done much in that. So that's really cool though.
So Alan, can you link the 2 eyes together so that if you move one of them, the other one moves in correspondence with it? Like most animals, or I mean, many animals have independent eyes. They can move them separately, some of them, but normally eyes tend to move together. Can you link those together then and do that?
Yeah, so in Fusion 360, you kind of can. But in real life, you would take care of that in software. So, like you had mentioned, some animals can kind of do that, and it's kind of fun to do for effects. But then in real life, your up-down movement is always synchronized, and then your eyes tend to focus based on whether it is something that's closer or farther away. When I was younger, I set up 2 cameras that were active because I thought it'd be super cool. This is well before depth cameras and time of flight. I figured at some point there would be enough processing power to identify spatially objects in 3D space. Now I'm not even planning on hooking up the second camera, because if I really wanted to do that, I could put a like a depth camera in the center somewhere. But for effect, when you're driving the eyes, and to give it the appearance of being something that's more alive, that behaves like a biological system does, you want to behave the same rules, which means, you saccade, you focus on something of interest first, up to the limits of your eye's ability to move, and then as your head slowly moves over, you'll make that correction in the eyes to keep the object of interest in view. The Raspberry Pi doesn't have enough horsepower to do anywhere near real-time object classification and localization, but there's a small accelerator that I think our buddy Chris Anderson even mentioned, and
Oh yeah, the Coral TPU. I had one of those on my on Big Orange, on the connected to the Windows machine.
Yep, and you hook one of these up, and you use the included YOLO and TensorFlow libraries on that, and you're getting 10, 15, 20 frames per second object classification, which is super cheap. And don't tell my old boss this, but I'm still holding on to one of the 2 that he purchased a couple of years back.
You can keep it.
It's safe on my desk.
You can keep it.
Yeah, I got the dual TPU one, the M.2 one that plugs into an M.2 slot.
Ooh.
But and that, yeah, that fit nicely on the Latte Panda. But then yeah, I moved to the Oak D. So technically I have two different TPU type systems.
Now, does the Oak D have a TPU embedded in it? I knew it was doing something spatially, but it does object classification
Yeah.
and hardware?
Yeah,
Or
it's got the
okay.
it's got the NVIDIA's Movidius chip in there, which is inferencing the
Oh,
from Intel's system. And so that you set up a pipeline you set up essentially a pipeline graph, and then or whatever structure, and tell it you want to do this type of processing, upload the model for the network, and it will run it. It runs it on its hardware. So yeah, and the light has it too. Obviously, that new one, the Oak D Lite, which people are starting to receive. I haven't got mine yet, but I kind of didn't fill out the form until later. But Sergey got one, and he's been experimenting with that. But but yeah, I love that. Those cameras are really do so many things, including the stereo and being able to like find the remote in the room and find people and go up to people, the depth sensing is really useful, and then the classification is really useful using the network. So and it's pretty easy to use in a good support system group. But anyway, but that looks really cool, Alan. You're gonna are you gonna have him, I mean, you're focusing on the head and movements first, head and eye type servos and all that.
yeah. And I mean, like most of my other stuff, he's going to be a raw spot.
Ross.
I have my eye on the next generation NVIDIA dev kit. They've got an Orin dev kit, which is 5 or 6 times faster than the Javier kit that'll be released in Q1. So I'm, depending on how far I get, childhood dreams being what they are, I'd like to put one of those in to get some local processing in. And it's funny how these things keep coming up. Chris Anderson, in one of his missives this morning, mentioned that cloud doesn't always mean like in the cloud someone else is building. You can have cloud local stuff as well. And one of the nice things about ROS, like I've always said, you play by the ROS rules, you get to play with all the toys in the ROS toolbox, is that it's processing, it can be processing location agnostic, meaning you can have a ROS solution where some of your processing happens on your robot and some of your processing happens distributed on like your desktop computer. And it's still a ROS solution, but now you're not carrying around like a 300-watt RTX graphics card on your robot when you just already have one on your desk.
Yeah, although for mobile, I mean, I still really like having them be able to take my robot to shows and demonstrate it without too much difficulty and without relying on Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Although having your own hub or having your own Wi-Fi, hub, I now have that with, but that doesn't solve all the problems. Bringing a desktop is a little too much. A laptop. Okay.
Yeah, it's the right tool for the job, right? We have so many more options than definitely than before, but there are certainly benefits to having everything on the robot with no external connectivity required.
Yeah. Now, which NVIDIA? Were you talking about an NVIDIA thing like a Jetson, or what was the one you just mentioned that you're?
Oh, Orin? Yeah, so Orin's the next generation after Javier, and they just said Q1 2022. The Javiers go for about $600 to $800. So they're not cheap. They're super small, but super powerful for their size. So I'm hoping the Orin dev kit is in the same price range, but We'll see. I can get really far just on a Raspberry Pi and a Coral, but I'm hoping there comes a tipping point where it's almost finished and it makes sense to make that final investment. So we'll
Okay,
see.
so these are, I haven't really heard about the Orin, and that's it's a standalone. Is the dev kit like it's a little box basically?
Yeah. Here,
Okay.
if you wouldn't mind, I'll share my screen again and let's. I'm happy to share what I've
I
come
haven't.
across so far.
Yeah, I haven't really looked into those other than the Nano, you know, and this is in a different category than that.
Yeah, so they oh shoot, I always forget exactly where it is. Overview embedded in Edge AI. Let's look over here. So most of us familiar with
Okay.
their Jetson platform. So
Yeah.
there's the Jetson Nano, which is their entry level board, and the way it works out is that they have these processor boards, and you can buy them separately.
Okay.
So when we're talking about like the Jetson Nano 2 gig or developer kit, it's actually a combination of the Jetson Nano board and the carrier board. So when they bundle those together, they call it a dev kit because it's mostly plug and play. And above that, they had one called Javier, which was the fastest of the Jetsons for a while now, for a couple of years. And the Javier NX was in the Nano form factor. You could spend a few more bucks and get their fully enclosed solution. And the Jetson Javier is actually this really highly integrated board that's hiding underneath the heat sink and fan. But just like the Nano, they'll sell it in a dev kit with all the bells and whistles and USB and stuff to make it easier to do. And Orin is the next generation of that. Orin is 110 by 110 by, I think, 50 millimeters. So about 4 inches by 4 inches square. So they're all super
bigger.
small.
A little bigger.
But yeah, for bang for your buck and size, they're pretty much the only game in town now.
That's pretty, yeah, that's amazing. But what's the 200 tops, but the cost, is the cost out on that one, or what was the cost of the previous model or the current model?
The Javier dev kits, I think we're going between 600 and 800.
Okay, so it's not cheap. You're talking.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
way
these are.
Yeah, these
Yeah,
are way more
decent,
than.
yeah, a decent laptop or a entry level desktop.
Interesting. Yeah, a bit more than your. Yeah, I have the Nano. A lot of people have the Nano, and
Yeah,
but
and they're super fun
tiny.
and capable for their size and their price point, no doubt.
Trying
Wow,
to
that
use
is
Oof.
that is not how much they cost. The global hardware shortage has made the reseller
Wow.
market incredible. These were $600. So
Oh my
I would
gosh.
wait.
Can you get them from NVIDIA directly or no? Probably
Oh,
not.
kids too. I think everyone's out of stock. I went through a similar exercise with the Raspberry Pi and some other stuff this week. And it's not just a US thing. It's
Yeah, it's
across most of the
global.
planet, but
And who's buying Jetson, Javier development kits in the thousand? I mean, how many hobbyists or are these bought by non professionals or something?
Scalpers.
Scalpers. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
who? It's not like Super Bowl tickets. It's like, oh, let's get together and buy some TensorFlow processing boxes. I mean, who does that? It's the geek people. It's not that
Right. Would you want one of these or a Super Bowl ticket?
right. All right. So we
Maybe
know that
Alan,
the Jetson Nano goes for like 100 or 99 or 199, right? Like
yeah, right.
back in the day. Let's see how much the scalpers are asking for them right now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I bought mine for, I thought $100.
$100, right? Yeah.
Or yeah, mine's the 4 gig, the original 4 gigger one, I guess. But yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I mean, I created.
Wow.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's. Oh wait, so they are. That's the Javier.
Javier.
I say Xavier. Isn't
Oh,
Javier
Xavier.
with J?
Use 3600 for a used one.
That's ridiculous. If
Well, we
there's, I mean, there must be people willing to pay big bucks, if, or they're not selling.
Here, let's see. Let's see. These are supposed to go
Alright.
for, they raised their price, right? So it was 55, I think,
Yeah.
right? So let's see how much they're going for on the Amazon
I paid 75 for
Wow.
for an 8 gig, right?
an 8 gig.
Yeah.
Oh, what is this? This is a,
This is just a 4
4
gig
gig.
bareboard. Yeah. Three
oh, and they've
times,
doubled. They're
three
more
times
than,
retail. Yeah.
oh, they're 3 times from. I just got mine at Micro Center though, a couple months ago. I don't, Micro Center is probably all out now too. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's feeling the crunch right now.
glad I got one then.
Yeah, for sure. Good call.
Let's blame that darn ship that got stuck in the Panama Canal. That's all that. We had a whole session on that with Les talking about it. That stupid ship. It
All
ruined
our boards that are on there,
What's that?
So
all our boards got stuck on there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
We're here in
all
Long
the-
Beach, so I think get some scuba gear. You can probably get one.
there you go. You
Oh,
can
yeah,
get
so-
the Jetson Javier's for $100.
Bring some snacks for the sailors. You probably get a good deal.
All right, cool. Yeah, the Omnibot is pretty cool, interesting. I mean, that historical, and you sent that. Yeah, you sent me that little article. It used to work on, the Apple II and whatever. Had software.
Yeah, we were talking about the Underbot topo and how they had a thing where you could program it using an Apple II.
Yeah,
And I had heard of a similar kit for the Omnibot series, but much like their accessories, I never saw one. Everyone, but then I remember when I was going across that site looking for wiring diagrams, I'm like, oh yeah, Jim was asking about programmability, and I guess you could download the disk image.
yeah, it does work for Apple, but I've got my Apple set up here, but I don't think I mean, the best you could do is similar to Big Track. You could just program it to go forward, this like Turtlebot, basically. Go
Yeah.
this far, turn right, go that far, rotate hand, or I don't know. It's very primitive for today's, accomplishments.
Yeah.
You're better off what you're doing is retrofitting the thing and turning it into a modern robot. All right, should I go next then?
Yep, you're next, Jim.
Yeah, so I have some videos, and then I could show a live one, but the video is kind of, I just did it today and it was working. But I have the videos that that kind of show most of what's going on. So so over it took me a while, but for the past, like at the beginning of 2021, I really wanted to get the automatic charging behavior implemented on Big Orange, and the SlamTech system on which Big Orange is based has a return to charger algorithm built in, and all you had to do though was create either a beacon, a infrared beacon, or a system where it would zero in on this infrared beacon, and you'd have to put the the beacon on the what's called the charging pile, and you'd have to put the receiver on the robot. But they also provided another way, which was to do it via with this plastic thing, or well, this shape, and you can see it. Let's see. Yeah, this thing here. Can you see my? I designed and 3D printed this plastic charging pile which has a couple of cavities on it from the SlamTech specifications. And so it can use the laser LiDAR to locate where these cavities are essentially, and then zero in on the base that way. So let me play the video here, or did I? Let me stop share for a sec and let's share sound, optimize video clip, maximize, go.
Orange, go recharge. I'm going to the recharge station. So here I've given the robot a command to go back to the charging station, and this is a built-in feature of the SlamWare core that it will go back to a home location in front of the charger and then attempt to locate the charger with the LiDAR. The charging pile is what it's actually locating, which is this plastic piece with two caves in it. And once it locates that, it lines up and backs up into the charger. To detect whether the charger is connected, I employ the use of the ACS 712 current sensor module, which is made for Arduino. A few pictures here. This is the back of the robot with the custom piece I made. This is the actual charger, which is a Nito BotVac charger repurposed. This shows the charging station in the SlamTech software, and this shows the status of charging on dock. Here it is actually on the dock, and this is indicated with that little cross thing. And this is some close-ups of the piece I had to author in Fusion 360. Jim, I need to recharge my battery. I am going to the recharge station. I'm going to the recharge station.
So here it's going on.
This is showing how I can add the behavior into the higher level system to trigger going back to the charger when the battery gets below a certain point. And I'm experimenting with that. It may want to ask you, can I go back? But in this case, I just have it go back without you proving it. And the lineup and the acquisition of the charger can be hit or miss sometimes, but it tends to work pretty well most of the time. I've arrived. And there you have it.
So yeah, so that's the video. This is the stuff
Hello,
I
and welcome back to Element 14 Presents. Grandpa,
Oops.
what were phones like when you were a kid? Okay, first, I'm not your grandpa. And second, when I was a kid, most of us did not have...
got bombed by another video. Or it's a commercial? They put a commercial on my stuff? Well, I'm honored. No, I don't know what that is. So yeah, any questions so far and about that?
I have a question, Jim.
Yeah, Tim?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
What are you using to detect the charge of the battery? Is
So
it a chip or a monitor or what is it?
I'm using this board. It's a current sensor module for Arduino, and it actually Carl found it on Amazon. And here, well, let me show you. Let me turn off the.
Can you email me a link to that later or something?
Yeah, well, we can put it up right now on the.
Well, I'm at a train station waiting to be picked
Oh,
up to
okay,
take
yeah.
home. and I'm on the fly. I'm not anywhere near it. So can't I get a hold of you offline and talk to you later about it or something?
Yeah, well, I'll just email it to the group as well.
Well, all right, that would be good. If not, I'll try
You'll-
contacting you separately.
Yeah, you'll get it. But yeah, it's
All right.
this, other people see this is the module. I kind of experimented a bit, and you know, I initially got this 30 amp one, which was, it's too much. It's the easiest one to buy. I really wanted, then I switched to the 5 amp one because I don't need that, you know, the resolution of the you know, the data of the signal is less per amp.
Right now,
So-
the screen on my cell phone is very small, so I can see the Amazon link, but that's about it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I need to get a hold of one.
But anyways, yeah, I'm glad to share this knowledge. I hope it's useful to other people. The ACS 712 is basically the model number. It's of the chip, and they put it together in this little board. But
All right, well,
yeah,
I will try to
yeah,
get a hold of you separately or something.
yeah, I'll email it right after. But that,
All right,
yeah,
I've got
so
your
that,
link somewhere.
yeah, I'll well, let's see. Certainly, I'll paste it right now into the
Well, again, I'm on my phone. I'm not even on my computer at home yet. If I was there, I just, you know, grab what you got there and save it somewhere. But I'm out and about.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'll send it as well as I'll
All right, I
post it
appreciate
and
that.
send it.
I've got an
both.
application where I need to sense battery voltage to see if it's too low to run servos and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's a
so-
good tip on choosing the current closest to what you're actually going to have in your application, so you have the full range of output. So that's
This one works pretty well. It divides the voltage in half, so it's like out of 5 volts, 2.5 volts tells you that you're at 0 amps, and plus 5 volts tells you you're at the max, which would be plus 5 amp in my case, or plus 20 amp or plus 30 amp if you need that
Right.
higher power.
No,
And then negative,
5
you know,
or 6
if
volts would do it.
yeah, if it's 0 volts, that means you're at negative 5 amps or whatever, and then everything in between.
Right, right.
So it
All right, well, I will try to get a hold of you later or something. Because I guess to say I'm on my cell phone here, so the image is really small.
yeah, well, I'm going to email it. Don't worry. To the
All right,
group.
I had to go out for another meeting at Gunner Holtz today, so I just got back to the Fullerton train station.
Oh, cool. So the other thing I needed to do was create something that would attach to the robot, and that was like one of the biggest challenges that I faced, that I put off for a long time. And well, what really got this going was I had gotten involved with, you know, listening to Camp Peavy and talking about the Nito BotVac project. And so I ordered a Nito BotVac, like a used one, to do a Ross project. And it came with this nice charger. And I was like lining my robot up to it. I'm like, my gosh, I think I finally found the solution. You can just buy it. And so I bought another charger base for the Nito BotVac, and I pulled out the power supply and just wired up the power supply from my battery. It's a wall charger. So that's all it is. It's just connecting the battery to its own wall charger via a different way, you know, via some contacts. So I modeled, here you can see I modeled, I had to model part of the world of the object to be able to, you know, get this to fit. And it didn't quite fit perfectly, but it fit good enough. And this to me was quite challenging. in 360. I mean, Alan has years of experience, and he could probably tell you, he'd be able to do something like this rather quickly, the more experience you have. But yeah,
Oh
for
man,
me,
this
it,
looks really good. You did a really good job, man. I'm impressed.
oh, thanks. I mean, part of it was a lot of measurements. I think it's harder, honestly, to get something to fit an existing real life object when you by modeling it than it is to like make a new object. At least for the ones I've done, it's like the new objects are easier. But so this, let me see, I have it. So if you can see my video feed, this is the actual part. I printed another one, and yeah,
Well, it looks like it turned out pretty good looking there, Jim.
yeah, thanks. It took a bit of time, but it came. Eventually I got it to to work, and then the part of the other big challenge was getting the electronics to work, and getting the detection of when the charger is connected. It was an issue because I didn't really know exactly what the current was going to be. Well, so I did experiments with an Arduino, and hooking up this current sensor, and when I connected the charger, it said 2 amps, and it was pretty clear what was going on. And so yeah, because I like to prototype on Arduino. It's before doing anything on using the Big Orange's more complicated ESP32, or actually it's an STM32 controller board. But when I went to it, I kind of had some issues where it was not giving the same, not giving the same reliable information. And I did a bit in the software, to detect when it's connected. I had to work on that. It turns out I was not using the ground. I mean, if I was using the 5-volt ground from another place in my board and not the one right from the microcontroller. And I guess this is a big no-no because it threw the numbers off, like that ground was not the same as the other ground, even though they're both 5-volt grounds. I don't know if anybody else has hit this newbie type of problem, but when you're working with an Arduino, you can't make that mistake. That's all you have. There's only one place to get the ground. But in my system, I thought, oh, it's shorter to go to this 5-volt ground. Why not just use that one? And as soon as I finally plugged in the 5-volt source and the ground, all from the STM, then suddenly the numbers were stable. And so when it touches the charger, it detects like a negative 2 amp or it's above 1. Yeah, I think it's around 2 amp flow. And then, but the other problem was I had to deal with the different voltage level. 3.3 is the STM32 GPIO, and Arduino is 5 volts. So I found out about, you can do a voltage divider. At first, I purchased these voltage level shifters, which are only for digital. From 5 to 3, so you can buy these level shifters, but that's for digital, not for analogs. For analog, you can use a voltage divider, but there's a bunch of other ways with diodes and stuff. But usually, voltage divider would be okay. But yeah, you don't want to put too much current through, and that's they have to be for safety reasons. You got to be careful about that. But yeah, there was enough information to do that, even from the people that make that little board. And so I got my voltage divider in, and then, but even then it was, the reference voltage was 2.5, not 3.3. So I had to change it. I guess that's even easier, just two 10K resistors. So, but anyway, after a bunch of coding and stuff, and then I got it to work. And then the rest is the slamware. So, any other questions?
No, I like what you did there, Jim. It's like that charger station looks really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, also you can do it on hardwood floor. I was toying in the initial design. I was dealing with two different levels. Like if you're on hardwood floor, the robot sits higher. If you're on the rug, the robot sits lower, or at least the first plate of the robot. And so I was like, I wanted to make sure you could do both. And you just have to put something underneath the Nito bot vac. You have to elevate it a little bit, but you don't have to. I mean, it wouldn't work if you had to make it lower, because you'd have to. You can't make it lower than. So I made sure it was higher. So you have to add a something when it's on hardwood, but that's fine. But yeah, so it was cool to be able to use that Nito bot vac, and yeah, that signal is the signal's in the microcontroller. Microcontroller tells the upper level slamware core that you're charging now, and then the robot stops moving. That's part of
Okay, guys, I gotta go. I'll talk with you later.
All right.
See you later, Tim.
Hey, Jim, I have a question for you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hi, so did you run into any problems with heat as like an issue when you're charging like that?
Well, I've been warned that I should have that I should probably buy Camp PV, the same guy who's worked on that, or whose company he worked for, Nito. And he said you might want to put a thermal sensor or check it every once in a while.
Yeah,
I haven't done so yet. I mean,
it hasn't been an issue.
no, I mean, I haven't noticed. I charged it all day. I mean, I didn't notice anything heating up.
Okay, I was just curious, just looking at that with the terminals, how they touch like that, you know.
Well, I mean, the reason I did this design is because the Nito bot vac is a professional product, and you'll see.
Yeah, I'm very new to this, so.
Yeah, if you want to see, this is what I modeled it after. You can see that it's very similar to mine. And
yeah, totally.
I
dude,
copied
you modeled
this.
it very well. Yeah, you modeled that
Kind of copied this design, and so I figured, copying a professional design usually means you've got a few things going for you that you don't have to worry about. Although I don't have all the circuitry in there. But again,
cool.
I'm using the charger that came with it, so that has short circuit protection, and it doesn't start giving the full. Well, like the Nito bot vac doesn't give the full current until it detects the impedance of the robot and stuff like that. I don't know if I have all that, but anyway, there's more safety issues if you really wanted to go, but I'm not,
No, that wasn't my intention. That's very cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. All right, well, any more questions?
Nice.
So that took me a while, but I'm kind of glad I got it done. Next, I want to start, if people are, well, next I'm going to replace the pan tilt rig for the camera for the what do you call it, the Oak D, because it's a bit flimsy. And then I want to do follow me behavior, and that that's the next things for orange. And then maybe I'll get into this Nito, the Ross robot. I do want to get into the Ross robots, but and then eventually put an arm onto Big Orange. It seems like that would be cool, although I don't know where I'd put it, but I want to do an arm, and it seems like an arm is the really, it'd be really, that's sort of the next big thing for a robot like this.
You can put it on the tray so that it kind of grabs the drinks and hands it to you.
That's what I was thinking, like it could be on the tray, so it could take something off a table, put it on the tray, or take
Yeah.
it from the tray, put it onto a, of course, it would have to be at the, it works for the coffee table, Mike, or something that's the level of the robot. Or it could hand it to you, I guess, yeah. Anyway.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you, Jan.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice. Thomas, I believe you are next. And your mic is not connected.
Your microphone.
Thomas. Anything now?
There you are. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got some videos I want to show, robots in the news and CES and all that sort of wonderful stuff. Let's get the show on the road, as they say. Let me know if I'm sharing my top screen or my bottom screen. I always share the wrong screen for some reason.
You are not sharing a screen at all.
Hold on. Here we go. Can you see a light blue with a black thing in the middle?
Yep.
Yes. Good. Hear any sound? Are you guys getting any sound from this thing? Nope.
No sound.
No, did you click the share sound button? when you
Yeah.
share? I think I heard a little something and it went away.
Oh, well, let's watch it. Have you guys seen this one yet?
Yeah,
Yep.
I just saw a
Pretty
little
cool.
bit of that. Someone sent a link or posted it. Wow, I haven't seen this much. That's cool. Oh, it goes on land too, right? This one, it can.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not quite as efficient on land, but.
And cool from the camera view, the onboard camera. I guess they tethered it for the ocean so they didn't lose it, right? Well, look at that across ice.
What is that, like rubber?
Yeah, that's rubber on the bottom, I believe.
Oh, cool.
All right, that's enough of that one. Let's move on. I don't know if I'll have to do a new share each time. What do you see right now?
I mean, we can see your browser.
Okay, you see. We're gonna go to the next one.
Tabs, yeah.
Oh yeah, the bike riding robot. They were posted. Yeah, that was posted recently too. Even though
It's been
old.
around for a while.
It's like 10 years old, or like, yeah, it's like 10 years or 8 years.
Yeah, like 10 or 15 years.
Primer V2 robot can ride the bike.
Yeah, now we can hear
I
it.
just wanted to see it again. That's all.
Yeah, the thing is, some of these things that were achieved in the past are still kind of remarkable.
I know, no Ross or anything like that needed.
It is human.
It puts its feet down when it wants to stop, like a person. Watch this. Did you see that?
I know, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a guy with a remote control that he's doing it. Oh, I see it. Does it have, it has balancing rod there, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it
this
has
is-
balance.
Yeah.
All right, moving right on.
Yeah, that's the Masashiko Yamaguchi, or like he's still doing research, but yeah, this, well, it says 2018, but it's older than that even.
Yeah. All right, next video. I have a bunch of, I'm gonna save this for last. This is retro throwback Thursday kind of stuff. Abel Mabel. Have you seen that one? No?
No.
We'll have that for that. This is kind of interesting, the bricklaying robots.
Oh, yeah.
They're advancing quickly. They put a lot of people out of jobs, you know?
Per day, with the record being an astonishing 914 bricks in just 1 hour. The Hadrian X's 200 bricks per hour may sound slow in comparison, but it's not using ordinary bricks. These are made special for the Hadrian X by FBR, and they're 12 times larger than standard house bricks. FBR says that its specially made bricks are lighter, stronger, and will minimize waste. But the Hadrian X isn't limited to these special bricks. It can also be used with standard bricks in a range of different sizes. The adhesive that joins the bricks is also an FBR original, drying and setting in 45 minutes as opposed to mortar, which can take 1 to 2 days to set. To compensate for wind, vibrations, and other natural disturbances which may disrupt the bricklaying process, the Hadrian X uses something called dynamic stabilization technology to remain steady and precise. For ease of transport, the Hadrian X is seen here mounted to a truck, but FBR says that its bricklaying robot could also be mounted to boats, barges, cranes, and more. Robotics. This 3,000-pound semi-automated mason was the first commercially available bricklaying robot and has been laying bricks on construction sites for a few years now. The SAM 100 is primarily used for what is called veneer masonry, meaning these bricks aren't going to be holding up the weight of the structure being built. Like the Hadrian X, the SAM 100 works off a 3D model, but unlike the Hadrian X, the SAM 100 only works in straight lines, with human masons placing the bricks on the corners. The SAM 100 usually works in conjunction with 3 to 4 people, but that number can vary depending on the specifics of the job. The construction workers lift large blocks between 135 and 150 pounds with ease. And unlike the SAM 100, the mule allows masons to place blocks with their own hands, just without the strain of having to lift it themselves.
Pretty neat stuff, huh? Okay, moving right on. This was an interesting one. Has anyone seen this robot before?
Right, somebody posted that recently on the 8 homebrew. Like the kid's companion robot.
Yeah, they seem to have it down because I saw a lot of individual reviews that were a whole lot better than, you know, people reviews. Oh.
Ooh. I'm so excited.
Wow.
I had no idea the human world would be like this. Oh, humans. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Moxie. I'm a robot from the GRL. That's the Global Robotics Laboratory. This is my first time in the human world. It's nice to be here. Oh, where is here exactly?
Houston, Texas.
Oh, I don't think I've been to the city. Yep. It's a pretty big world for a little robot. I'm here to meet my new mentor, Miranda. Wait, are you Miranda?
Yes.
Cool. Please look.
Moxie, let's go.
Let's do it. Okay, first things first. I think we should do the robot mentor pledge. Anyway, congratulations, Mira and I think this is
Miranda.
the start of something great. Wait to see whose turn it is to talk.
Nice.
Okay, now for a quick motor test. We'll pretend that I'm asleep, and then you'll say, "Hello, Moxie," to wake me up. Ready? When is the last time you made art?
So this thing is very well animated. It has obviously an animation team behind it, or a person, and it's one of the. Now I want one. You see, I see this and I want one. Anybody else have any comments on this before we go to the next one?
It's like a personality, one of those personality robots, primarily personality, and not, not like autonomous or moving around type of robot, but it's
Yeah, you can tell this person has a lot of the social robots in there. There's the Vector and
oh yeah, look at that.
And all the other the little guys up there on the stand.
Yeah, those are like what are they? Is Furbies? No.
Furbies, yeah. Those are
Furby.
all social type of robots, yeah.
Yeah, that's what this one is supposed to be, a social. But I don't know if you'd get bored of it after a short time. I mean, as an adult. But
Yeah, it's doing what Jibo said it was supposed to do, but never did well.
Yeah.
So I love the animation in the arms and the head and the neck. It just moves so well.
Yeah,
It's been a long time.
What's that, Jim?
it's humanistic nature. It's humanistic achievements are quite good. I mean, humanoid. That's it's pretty impressive. Gestures and expressions, but yeah, there's a lot of artistic skill behind that.
Yeah, that's an area where a lot of us don't go.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about how to do that, because I was toying with the idea of getting into the humanoid robotics by buying one of those Elvises, although I didn't end up buying it, but to me it'd be like, if it's really human sized, or at least scaled human scale, then you could use capture technology and use capture from real footage of humans, or even with the taken with little balls, ping pong balls and that kind of thing, and then use that on the robot to sort of, even an engineer could record gestures and then play them back on a robot would be the goal.
Yeah, they also have. There's a lot of people who have done the thing where you put things on you, trackers on you, and it measures your movements, and you could probably translate those accordingly. All right, that's enough of this one. Let's move on. Got a few more to show you. And I was looking at the CES 2022 robots, and here we've all seen this one already. This is an interesting one with the, I don't know, salesman, developer. I don't know who he is.
So others can do research on it.
How was your day?
My day has been fine. How about you?
Yeah, great. I have my first picture with a robot.
Good to know. I am your first.
We've created the operating system, which runs underneath. We call it Tritium, and that runs on the robot. And we're opening up that software so others can write apps for it. And those apps could be anything. It could be an AI algorithm which detects people's faces and remembers them from the other day. It could be one that
I love it when he says could be, could be, could be. In other words, it's a blank slate, mostly.
Hope it doesn't become the next Pepper.
That thing, this has got amazing potential. Although it's getting into the uncanny valley quite heavily. It's
true, yeah, especially with the gray skin.
Yeah, it's very, yeah, it's like almost close enough. It's close enough that you're kind of, it's a little weirded out.
What would you guess these things cost? A couple $100,000?
Oh yeah, no idea. At least.
If Sophia is $89,000, this must be more on top of that.
Yeah.
All right, next video. This is Biomni. Did I say that right?
Biomni.
I'm sure he could pour it out if he wanted to, but currently, hello, Michael. Good to have you here. Welcome to the live stream. Here's Biami holding the bottle upside down. So we're going to be demonstrating a lot of different tasks that Biami can accomplish here today. The first is this here water bottle. Down the line we have tennis balls and a drill we're going to show you, but first here we have Biami opening the water bottle very delicately. Now Biami is not supposed to actually drink water, so don't. The water bottle is empty. Oh.
You kind of wonder if there's anybody on the back end pulling this.
Yeah, they showed the guy in the background. If you look to the back to the left.
Oh yeah,
he
that's
was
100% teleoperated.
Oh, all right. I didn't know. Oh, yeah, the guy in the red shirt. It's following him. I thought as much. So, yeah, great mechanics. What can you say? All right, that's enough of Biomni. And this is LG.
Oh, hey, guys. I'm glad you're here.
Hi, glad to meet you. My pleasure.
Now, can we talk about one of my favorite little guys? The LG door-to-door delivery robot, everybody. I mean, look at him go. This is one of LG's latest innovations, a door-to-door delivery robot that can run both indoor and outdoor journeys. This thing is a powerhouse of technology. It combines the latest in AI-powered autonomous driving technology with LG's world-renowned engineering prowess. Looking ahead to when fully autonomous driving soon becomes reality, the LG Omnipod will provide the means for all the things you can do while you're not driving. This exciting future mobility concept turns into a mobile office when you need to work, an immersive cinema with drinks and snacks on board, a personal shopping mall for virtual retail, or even a personal exercise studio. And when you're at your destination, Omnipod docks in and becomes an extension of your space, wherever you are. All incredible stuff and lots of new ideas for mobility. Very interesting.
Kind of interesting, huh? Any comments on that one before we move along?
Got a cool suspension. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shopping mall for virtual.
Yeah, screens everywhere. You see that? Your whole van is filled with screens. Guess that's the future, huh? Every surface covered with a computer screen. Anybody want to see more of this guy, or we had enough of this guy? It's just some up close.
Will happen. I'm almost certain that that will happen. But we're talking at least a decade, probably two, before a humanoid robot that can walk safely and live amongst other humans.
Hello, Morgan.
How are you?
Well, if I could feel, I would feel I would love it.
Yeah. The Amica does not have an ethnicity or a race. Amica doesn't have a gender. Amica doesn't have a religion or a political view. Amica is a robot.
Thank you very much. I heard that being beautiful is a compliment to humans.
Stands there.
Yeah, anytime you add teeth,
But you get that
then,
uncanny valley just
that's
before,
what makes
where
the
it doesn't
uncanny
quite
valley.
move like a human.
They make
It
them
doesn't
less
quite
scary. I love
express
it.
itself or emote or talk like a human. And that's the uncanny valley. That's the scary bit. If you go further back to something that looks less like a human, then suddenly you like it a lot more.
They need to work on the smile. It looks a little bit like a, you know,
Creepy.
Friday the 13th smile, kind of, a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Of all the things that made Scrooge pout, he most disliked running and
Okay. So Ellie wanted me to show everybody the car that changes color. So I have a video of the car that changes color. I got two of them. Let me see. Maybe I'll play this one instead. I like this one better. Not exactly a robot, but you know, there you go.
When we were developing this car, we worked many days and nights on this car, and I remember at the end of one work day, I left the car running, just pulsing, and I left it running all night as a robustness test. When I came back in the morning, 6 o'clock, I just looked at the car and it was like it's alive. BMW Flow technology can benefit our customers in a number of ways. First is personalization. You choose the clothes you wear, you choose your social media status, and you can choose the color of your car. Second is information. For example, if your battery status is full, in the case of car sharing, if a car is free, if it's clean, if you've lost your car in a parking lot, we can make it flash so you can detect it in your peripheral vision. Third benefit is functional. By changing color, we can change sunlight reflection and thus change the thermal properties of the car. We can essentially change the color of the car to support our sustainability goals. With the BMW iX Flow, we're bringing the digital soul of BMW to the exterior. It's new. It's never been done. It's unexpected. It's magical.
So the police wouldn't like this car, not even a little bit.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they only show black and white, but you know, with e-ink, you can do a lot of different colors. I think black and white is the least amount of energy. I was watching the how-to on this video. They actually cut plastic panels of this film and put it on top of every square inch of it. It's not really integrated. It was added as an extra layer.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
That's expensive.
I'm sorry?
That sounds expensive.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they took, you know, several hundred hours to apply it so it looked this good. And I wonder where the wiring is, you know? Every panel has to be wired.
I mean, when you look at this, though, most people will say, oh, that's CGI. You know, it's not even, it doesn't cross your mind that that could be real. Like, you'd have to be in person to really believe it, because you're like, oh, they just edited the video.
Yeah, it'd be easy to do, but no, I saw them building it piece by piece. I mean, it's like an hour-long video of how they made it.
Yeah, I'm sure it is real, but it's just like it's kind of the effectiveness of the ad is a little like, okay, is that real?
Yeah, I wonder if there's anybody else's videos on it. That's the IXM60. IXM60. Looks like a real review. Or that maybe this one?
eBay Motors, they have all
4, 3, 2, 1, skip. Yeah, this is a real review. Let's see.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to
exactly
get it.
what's happening in front of our eyes. The entire body panels, the mirrors, and even the covers on the wheels.
What did you say, Jim?
This material.
You wouldn't want to get a ding on that. God.
Did you see? Let me back it up a little bit. You can see how rough it is. If you look at the edges, you can see the roughness in the video. See that? Look. You see that?
What is that? Looks is that that's an artifact of their application, maybe.
Yeah, that's because it didn't go on as smooth as they wanted it to.
This is a prototype, basically, right? Or I mean, or
yes,
first of its kind.
Yes, but you can see how it didn't adhere properly in some places. When they cut the light down, it looks really good, but when they turn on the bright lights, you can see all the defects.
Been launched as well. The IX being the
Yeah, and out in bright day, it's
between different colors. Now,
yeah, well, that's still pretty amazing. You know.
Something the team have been working on to bring e-ink into the cars.
I like that idea. If you could, for a thermal, you could change the thermal properties.
Some of those in a moment.
Yeah, black in the winter, white in the summer.
You have that very
yeah, I mean,
grill up front, leading into these almost racing stripes with the curves, the sporty shapes.
So this is all a result of bendable screens. My company Samsung's been researching it for a while. I wonder if they should be selling to companies like this.
But obviously, as I mentioned, this is
I mean,
proof of concept.
That would work a lot better than what BMW is doing. They cover it with curved glass, and
you also have,
you
for
can
example, mirrors that could
play an entire movie on your car.
indicators. It could, for example,
that would, yeah, that's kind of a very useless feature, but
yeah, exactly. Why are we watching commercials of cars?
Color completely. All the way.
Or if you were trying to hide it, you can match your background, make it camouflage.
Yeah, camouflage. Yeah, it's a getaway.
Absolutely crazy. As a special bonus, we can take a look inside here at this exhibit featuring a future BMW model. No comment on what it may be, launching in a couple of months, but in particular,
Well, this is another car.
To show you inside here, the new BMW theater screen that you can see up top. Now with a press.
Oh, here you go. There you go, Ben.
And it has this 31-inch system for entertainment in the back of the car. Let me take a seat.
Okay.
We have
4D audio and this gigantic screen, obviously sitting behind the front seats.
Oh, there's some lucky children that would be for those able to watch that.
Plenty of entertainment and different systems. But I think you will have.
That's kind of a
the button.
big screen for it to be that close to people's faces, because I mean that's right in front of the back seat.
Although you've seen the SpaceX spacecraft, right, where they have the giant control panels right in front of their face. I think that's the trend now.
Feature these soundtracks. I was actually at the.
All right, that's about it. That's about all. Anybody else? Who's next?
I got a quick one.
All right. Walter, take it away.
All right. So we're all jumping on the bandwagon of the robot dog, right?
Yeah.
So this one is a kit that I bought maybe like 3 months ago, and I just built it last night, finished building it last night. But the problem is that it's Raspberry Pi based. So you can see it here. It's got a camera and some of the common sensors that we all use. But the only examples that come with it is calibration, how to test the sonar, how to turn this ring LED on, and that's about it. So you kind of have to figure out the walking gates and everything else on your own on this guy. So I emailed the company. I thought, okay, do you have samples to make this thing work? And they said, no, you pretty much have to write your own code. We showed you how to calibrate it, how to access the sensors. Good luck. But it's also got a few other flaws that I thought, like the battery powers are not enough. It's got a couple of those 18650s or whatever batteries in there. But you really need to get the high drain batteries on this guy. Other than that is the common MG90 servos that we all use, the little ones. And it's Python based, so it's got some pretty nice libraries. It's got potential. It's got an app for Windows. So you can actually make it go forward, back, left, and right with pressing the buttons on the app. But they don't give you the source code for the app, so you can't really figure out a lot of it. So I'll see if I can figure it out. But it has potential. This morning I was telling Alan that the motors were running pretty slow. And I figured out that it's got a board that communicates with the Raspberry Pi, but the I2C was set for a lower baud rate. So you had to increase the baud rate so that the servos could run faster on this thing. Well, it's pretty interesting. But anyways, I'll let you know once I figure it out some more. I just barely got it running this morning. But the next thing is we actually have on the meeting here, Mike Senna. And Mike, and this goes with
Dude, don't call me out.
Well, it kind of goes with what I'm showing next, because Mike Senna is actually the guy who has done all the R2D2 stuff for the actual movies and everything. So in fact, I just finished my R2D2 a few weeks ago, and a lot of it is based on his designs, including the frame and the motor drives that I have. So I finally finished my R2D2 here, and this is at the LA Comic-Con. So there was about 100,000 people there. So there was a lot of great photo opportunities in there. And but anyways, this thing, I mean, you've kind of seen me working on it for over a year on this thing. It is a lot of work. I mean, I've done a ton of robots, and I finished the humanoid robot, the big humanoid robot, and that one was not even as much work as this thing is. There are so many. It's pretty labor intensive. And it's, it's got wood, it's got metal, it's got everything. But anyways, so Mike Senna, who's here, he is actually the guy who's everybody follows to create their own life-size R2D2s. It's a childhood dream of actually creating this guy. But anyways, had a good time. You can see that I chose a different color scheme. I wanted it to be kind of a unique color scheme. You can also see I added some little extra gribblies in there to make it look a little different. So I think R2D2s are, it's your own, right? It's whatever you wanted to make it. But it's here right next to the actual color scheme that you see in the movies. But anyways, it was a lot of fun. There was a ton of people there. You can kind of get a feel for the scale of the size. It's all remote control. And but it's got a lot of stuff inside. There's quite a lot of things in there. So I just finished welding the foot covers over here, and I'm making some of the other bits on the back there. But you can see that there's different kinds of R2s out there. There's an R5, R6, R9, R0. So there's all kinds of R2D2s out there. This one has a different dome, which I've made a dome like that for mine also. I made 3 different domes for mine. here's all the people that went to the LA Comic Con. We had a great time in there, and tons and tons of the droids that showed up. I was also invited to be part of a panel, and we basically discuss what it takes to build one of these things. So everybody has the experience of building these things. They can tell you the sweat, blood, and tears that you go through building one of these things. It is quite a lot of work, quite a lot of work. You can kind of see it rolling a little bit.
Was yours have a wood internal like that other guy's? I've seen people use wood and steel.
Get a feel for, yeah, get a feel for what it's like. There you go. Eventually, we'll go back to the campus and and meet there. But anyways, I'll just show you real quick the other dome that I did for this guy. Yeah, been working on a whole bunch of different ones, but oh, Sergey's robot. Let's see, and where is this guy? Here you go. Here's the other dome, so you can kind of feel that there's, you know, you can see that you can actually make all kinds of domes for this thing. So like I said, I built 3 different ones for this guy so that it can have a different look by just putting a different dome on it. And then the other thing is I like to make things a little more weather looking, you know, like they've been used, they've been out there, you know, and all those things.
Yeah, scuffed.
But anyways, I just wanted to give you an update of this thing, how it's coming along here. But it's pretty much done. So now I got to work on this robot dog and make a big one, you know, based on what I learned from this guy. So
you can use the gate from the OpenCat for your robot dog.
Yeah, that's true. I'll look into using that one too. So
Walter, I have some code I can share with you.
all right.
Yeah, contact me over the weekend and I'll get it to you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
That's impressive, Walter. Another year of working on the art. Well, it took a whole year on the R2, right? But that's less than a lot of people take multiple years.
Yeah, there's a friend who's taken 10 years to build his, but it's all metal, 100% metal. So yeah. I don't know how long Mike takes. I mean, he's the pro at this stuff. He probably takes a couple months.
Oh, Mike, who's that? Mike. Oh,
Mike Senna.
Oh, Mike, this guy.
He is the R2. He is the main R2 guy.
He's Mr. R2.
This is who we follow to build our R2s.
I didn't come to this meeting for that. I came to listen to all you guys talk about your stuff, which is, I was talking to Thomas, and really, I'm looking at these real world applications because I'm mainly in entertainment robotics, and but the real world stuff is, I was telling him, is far more complex, and I really admire you guys for building these systems that you do. It's so fantastic. It's really an inspiration to me. But yeah, I've been building these things for quite a while.
Mike, what are you working on now?
Stuff. There's things that I'm working on, I guess, for the Disney parks right now on the entertainment robotics side. I can't really say stuff about it because, you know, all the stuff you put in the parks is supposed to be theirs, and there's no magical third party behind them. So, but mainly since I've been working on the Star Wars centric land stuff, which is really interesting and fun. But I could say that I was that the droid consultant for Obi-Wan for the new series, and I was on set there for maybe 4 months. I wouldn't go every day. There's maybe 2 days a week for shooting of the droids. And I became the droid consultant, bringing in some of the club droids actually onto the set. But then they wanted to also make me the droid mechanic on set, and then they decided they wanted me to puppeteer some of the droids on the set. So I'd say maybe roughly half of those droids that's going to come up on that Disney Plus series I was driving around and puppeteering. So it was very interesting and fun.
Cool.
It was the Book of Boba Fett film here in LA, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As a matter of fact, they were filming the Book of Boba Fett. It's the same studio. It's all in Manhattan Beach Studios. And I never even knew before that there was even a large film studio location in Manhattan Beach, but there is. And so there's like a block of 4 studios like stuck together like a giant warehouse, and it's divided into 4. And across the street, which is the studio street, is another block of 4, and then another block of 4, a block of 4, and goes on and on. But at the time we were filming that block of 4 across the street, they had been filming Mando there, all the Mandos, and then while we were there, they were filming Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett. So they finished up like a month and a half before Kenobi finished. And they had, I guess they're doing 6 episodes, and they put them out pretty quick, considering it's December, their end of December release. Because I think they finished around August, if I'm not mistaken, filming. So I don't know. Yeah, they were filming there on the volume. They have their own video screen volume, which is incredible. Have you guys seen some of the documentaries and how that was filmed? If you haven't, you should really try to catch some of that.
On how? Which one?
The videos,
was filmed?
the video screens.
Okay.
If you look up like maybe YouTube or something about the volume, they call it the volume. I don't know why, but it's just this big gigantic cave, and it's just lined with video screens. And you'll walk in there. I walk in there in the mornings, and it would be all changed, but I would swear it's like, oh my gosh, like it took them only a day to build out that building facade or whatever. It's not a building facade. It's on the video screen. It's just, and you stand in there, and you just don't believe what you're seeing. And they have the big cranes, the cameras on the cranes coming down or going up. But as you're doing that, if you're in this kind of shaped area and you're looking at it through a crane, the video has to move to the perspective of the crane in order to make it look right. So when you're looking at the screen, it looks like the camera is just panning down. If you're looking at the volume while they're doing that, the entire roof is stretching or compacting, the video is, and it's moving while the screen's moving. And you're standing there just looking at it moving, and you're looking at the screen and nothing is moving. It's just all the perspective. And it was just amazing to see. Even the lighting, it's like if they needed a light to brighten the scene, they can just move a white spotlight, and they'll take a laser pointer, and the guy will be like, move it over here, move it over here. And the guy behind the videos, the magic guy, is moving this white ball, and then they can change the color of that white ball to make the mood different. So you don't need now a lighting technician, and you don't need to set up the stands, you don't need to set up the filters, you don't need to set up all that stuff, which would really take a long time to move from one spot to another. So there's so many things I saw there. It was incredible stuff.
That was for the Mandalorian?
That was for Obi-Wan.
Or did they use the same stage for both of them?
No, Bubba was across the street. Bubba's the same soundstage as Mandalorian.
All right.
But they call this thing the volume Mandalorian, or
They call it the volume, just the volume.
yeah. Well, I'm looking at like from I just Googled it, and there's like an entry, the volume Mandalorian or Stagecraft 2.0.
Yeah, that's probably what you want to look for.
That's yeah. So it says volume Mandalorian, a physical set encircled by massive LED screens.
Yep.
Well, that, and there's a behind the scenes video. That's the one you're talking about. That sounds worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's worth viewing. It's just incredible. I can't even tell you how blown away just to see that in person. Now those pixels are little LEDs, right? They're like a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch. They aren't like high res. But then
Right.
when you see it, you know, in the camera perspective, how far away it is, it looks absolutely dead on, like you're there. Some of the scenes had people, if it was a cityscape or something, and they were walking through a city, there'd be people eating or on tables, right? Those people were actually in the video screen, you know, sitting and eating. So they painted in the aliens and animated them in the screen. They're not even real, but they looked incredible.
Yeah.
Disney Plus has some behind the scenes videos on that. Pretty amazing for the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of Star Wars stuff to watch now coming out. I didn't even, you know, I didn't know about the Ben Kenobi and the other and the Book of Boba Fett and
Kenobi and Andor are two that are in pre-production or post-production. And Andor is one of the guys that was in Rogue One. He's a character. He died, of course, in Rogue One, but this is his backstory. And that has already been filmed, and I believe that's even done with post. But I don't know when they're going to release that versus when they're going to release Kenobi. So they have like two in their pocket right now. And they started filming Mando 3 recently.
Oh, nice. That is cool.
So Andor was filmed in England, but all of the Mandos and Boba Fett were filmed here in Manhattan Beach. There's several sites, physical sites around Los Angeles they used for real sets and real mountain ranges and things like that. But mainly on that volume, which is crazy.
And oh yeah, so Mike also did a life-size Wall-E. That's pretty amazing. It's a lot of work also on that one.
Yeah, that's probably not. I'm not ready to. I'm not prepared to show that one, but I had built again an entertainment robotic type of thing where I did some animation in it with. I used pick chips versus Arduinos and things like that. I think at the time I was learning, the Arduinos weren't really a big thing. And the movie industry is kind of using the pick chips. So I use those writing in Pick Basic to do routines, like a hand wave. So he would have to raise his arm, he would have to do the wave motion and then release it back down. But it would be triggered by the remote control via like a ground signal. And the pick chip would pick that up and do the routine and complete it. But I guess I could show that later at some point in time. Thomas was trying to convince me to show something, and I was too intimidated by all your guys' stuff, which is a lot more fantastic and mind-blowing and amazing to me. I'm like, these guys don't want to see this garbage that I got.
Mike, we do. We want to see your stuff. We really
You are crazy.
we
I've
are
always
meeting
said I want to be Mike Cena when I grow up. So no, you're definitely in the right place, my friend. I'm glad you're here.
God. Well, thank you. But I'm just telling you guys have more of the robotic stuff that I would love to get into. I was telling Thomas, it's just what was that saying, Thomas? You can do anything you want, but you can't do everything.
do everything.
It's a fantastic saying, and gosh, so that's why I'm here, probably to get more inspired than I to push my boundaries a little more. So you guys are basically being thought of it by me as a further inspiration to try to push myself into the more autonomous realm.
Right. Yeah. Well, keep coming back, Mike. We're here, and we can help you. We have a lot of between all the guys and the ladies around you. We have quite a bit of information to share with you and anybody else who wants to learn this stuff. Hopefully, we'll be in person again sometime later this year, and maybe you want to show up for that. We'll start courses up. We'll start classes. Riverside is going to start classes, and I don't know, Alan, are there any classes that are going to go on at Long Beach?
I don't think there's anything on the schedule yet. No one's been volunteered or voluntold.
All right. Well, Riverside's going to be doing some Raspberry Pi when we start. Assuming we're meeting next week, that's still up in the air. So, anybody else? Ben, what do you? So Ben, you're doing the meeting. You're hosting.
Okay. So one thing that I wanted to say is that we're going to push the elections for next meeting, since the time kind of got away from us. So we'll do elections next meeting, and I just wanted to remind everybody that we now have the capabilities to take in the yearly dues from the website, as well as donations and also merchandise. You can buy T-shirts or even coffee mugs. Oh, okay. So yeah, so elections next meeting. For now, we're gonna end the official meeting. If you guys want to stay here and just discuss, we can always do that. But if you can stop the recording now, Alan, for the official meeting, so we can